What's going on, everybody? My camera is tilted up. There we go. It's Friday night. It was a long day already. So I'm in a more of a slow and relaxed mindset for tonight. The one of the guys who handles a lot of shipping at the shop is out sick. Well, probably for about a week. And so I had to go into the shipping room today and ship orders, which is not something I normally do. So hopefully I didn't screw them up. But so I was in there all day, and it's just so I can get anything else done. I don't even know. Normally I have 10 minutes of time to do some thinking and prep. Not today. Not today. Anyway, well, I had 4 orders you shipped. Troy Givler, you know what? I saw that and I was like, hey, Missouri. Hey, I think I've seen. Did I already do this order? Nope, it's just another one to him. Did you ship your pants? I shipped my pants. So, I had this truck on the bench already from previous nights working, and I never did get the new 90 mil rear shocks on there, so I was like, I'm gonna do that. I heard Josh's voice from my living room. It's time. What's going on? So yes, I don't have major plans for tonight. Nicole is out tonight, of course, obviously, since she's not seated next to me, as you will have found by this point. Sorry, I ordered a mat. I guess I should have waited. Well, I wasn't the only one in there, thankfully. There was 2 of us, and we had a huge stack of orders to get through, and we pretty much did it. Not all, not 100%, but yeah. How did the garage come out? So Nicole and I were working on getting the garage cleaned up last night a little bit. We got some done. More will happen tomorrow is the goal. Um, so yeah, that's kind of, I'm going to try and just do the same process that we did in here, in there. And then the plan will be to hopefully pick up some shelving to get installed there this weekend as well. I'm going to get 3 or 4 shelves so I can get them lined up kind of back to back in an aisle type setup so I can get some stuff stored. Because if you believe it or not, I have a lot of crap. It's good crap. It's my crap. So, you know, it's it's a goal, and if I can get everything cleaned up, I'm gonna have a lot of stuff to get done here soon because, well, I'll give you guys a few insights of what we got cooking. I won't reveal all of it. But first, the RC Underdog. What's going on, Paul? Good to see you again. Hey Josh, any tips on doing a panhard on a flat rail build? Trying to build with a laydown CMS and scratching my head on next steps. Laydown CMS panhard mount. If you're talking about the actual mount itself, I believe that you can buy one separately from Rock Pirates. They have a nice little stainless steel one. Vanquish has a machined aluminum one, and Scale Metal Supplies maybe has a bent one. If that's what you mean, the actual mount itself, which can be a pain. But those are the 3 options I would look for. Beyond that, getting everything sorted to clear, that's the more difficult part. Totally agree. Joker 510714, which I believe is 2 area codes. I don't know where either of them are. For some beer, do you think the Mamba Micro X2 for Phoenix build is enough with a 10 amp BEC? Holmes Hobbies has a bundle. It will be an LCG rig with an Artful Dodger chassis. For an LCG rig, yes. If you're going to keep it light. If you start putting a bunch of weight and running other servos, things like, then it can get a little, it can be taxing on it. But if you're going to keep it fairly light, like a Artful Dodger setup, it should work just fine. And Thomas Thank you, sir. Hey, Josh, can't stay long. Pitting at the Baja 1000. Sick. There's been some good coverage of the. Where are you at on the course? What race miles are you? Or you got a nice? Do you have a pre-runner you're getting from location to location? Sounds awesome. Where's my wheel wrench? Someone has stole my tools. It couldn't possibly be me. Phone in my pocket. Wait. No, this is the one I need. Never mind. The solution is that it was my fault. Race mile 540. Man, there's been some crazy action this year. Trucks burning down, a couple of them colliding, taking some big names out. Whew. I didn't get to follow much of it today, but I caught some of the updates from Fishgistics. Looks like a crazy year. Not that the Baja isn't always crazy, but what a show, man. I'm surprised Josh doesn't have a titanium wheel wrench he carries in his pocket. You know, there. I feel like if I could find the right set, every once in a while I'll see one of those multi tools. I'm like, oh, do I need that? Like that one has a saw in it. Haven't seen this truck in quite a while. Glad to see it receive some more attention. It's just I just grab it every once in a while, do some looking at it, and this is like one of those ones I'm not in a not in a huge hurry. Just gonna slowly get it to be exactly what I want because this is definitely one of my favorite trucks. So I refuse to do it any other way than exactly how I pictured. We do need to build the shocks still. You never go full titanium. False. Full titanium is the way. Have you seen the movie Dust to Glory? Yeah, it's been a while. Like what, a few years maybe? I can't remember. I can't remember what brought me to watch it the first time. Adam Carolla maybe. No, I did. I don't know if any of you guys watched it. So the uh, fastest woman alive or fastest woman documentary, the one about Jesse Combs on HBO Max. I of course knew who Jesse Combs was and all that. As an entertainer, seeing her race here and there. But that documentary was pretty humanizing, and man, they showed some of the footage, and it was, whew, what a, that was a pretty tough one to, you know, not tough to watch, but man, it's like pretty crazy stuff. I just, if you haven't seen it and it's on HBO, whatever the on-demand one is called, Max or Now, one or the other. But it's on that, and it's absolutely worth watching. So yeah, that's the Ed Camino. I mean, thank you for the donation a lot, but man, I'm all for that username. I hope that your name is Ed and you own an El Camino. Just if so, what year? I must know. My coworker Brandon and I are both like, we would both love to own an El Camino. Right. So we're always like finding them, and of course California, you have like all the smog crap and all that. So you're like, this one's pre-smog. It's a pretty good deal. Price isn't bad. Love El Caminos. Ed Camino has a mullet, pit vipers, and George new one. Yes, sir. 1979. I like it. I'm all for it. That's amazing. And best username ever. Oh man. Jesse was brought into the cash cow and the crash test dummy so Ed could get the glory. Was brought in to be the oh, of the actual car. Is that what you mean? Used to watch her on Power. Yeah, so like I remember she wasn't on there for very long. Like I remember when she first came on to the Power Block back before, internet shows and things like that. Podium just stopping in to say, "Hey, it's 9/11 here." Wait, okay, time wise, I was just like, it's 911 here, 9/11. What's going on? Is there an emergency? Do you need bear? Do you need assistance? Ridge RC, thank you, sir. Thoughts on the Ender 3 S1 Pro for a first 3D printer? Can't go wrong. While the Prusa is my obvious top choice, it's like 3 times the money, and the Enders have such a massive user base that it's a good choice. And for a first 3D printer especially, can't go wrong. Like you're do it. Get it. Because if it's your first one, you don't have one yet, take the leap and get going, because it will change so much for you. Then go back and watch STL Sundays and start modeling. Because 3D modeling and a 3D printer will change your life. Nothing like the G-Body Shuffle. Yeah. Do you know when the SCX6 will have the Honcho body for sale? Oh, the Honcho body alone. I don't know that. I don't know that at all. I would only be speculating to throw a guess out there at all. If they didn't bring spare parts in at the initial launch, it's hard to say exactly what their time frame will be. Had a 3D printer but never used it. That's super common. I've heard that a million times. That is why I have to just recommend over and over and over, if you can learn even the basics of 3D modeling, just the very basics, it will completely change the usefulness of a 3D printer. Like, seriously, it changes everything. It's just all of a sudden it takes it from this tool where something has to be available for it to be useful to you, to something that can just create, something that will be endlessly useful for you. It's hard to, yeah. Between the Mini and the Mark IIIs, what would you choose? Oh, the larger. I love my i3 Mark III Plus, and I would definitely recommend that size. I would love the larger size even, but it's not. This size gets most everything done I ever need. There's some things, like when I'm printing molds for certain stuff, I'd love to have a little bit larger one, but it's not the end of the world. Where do I upload my STL files to? So a lot of mine are on Thingiverse when I upload stuff for free. For free, excuse me. But like I have the Power Wagon cage, the one that's that I did for like the interior cage and interior parts for a Power Wagon or Comp Wagon, whatever you have. And I uploaded that to my website because that one I sell the file for. I don't sell most of my files. I try and give most of the designs I do away for free, just because it's my the use I try to get out of them is usually for personal use, and then after that, it's for content. But I did that interior, which do I don't have one handy. I did that interior using that 3D scanner I bought, which was expensive, and it would be great if somehow that 3D scanner was able to pay for itself. Jeremiah, what's going on, sir? I have all your STL files from STL Sunday, and I saved. I just need the printer. I'm going to print a boatload of trash cans and hide them in the house. You know what? I saw more people print that silly trash can than. Was there a reason the Power Wagon reason the seats in the Power Wagon cage sit so high? I mean, the top of a full back seat like that should basically be at the top of your head, so that should sit very high. I think that's how those seats are for a race style seat. And then the top of that is basically at about the top of the windshield, so roughly about where they should sit. Is why I placed them there, in my opinion. Oh, that's a cleaner, not a shock fluid. Let's see. 70, 80. We'll go with 40 for now. Suck it, Farva. You get a liter of cola? Do we sell a liter of cola? I use your trash can every day. It's on my computer, and people just can't believe I printed it in flexible filament. Ooh, that's a good call. Printed out of flexible filament is definitely a good call. So some 40 weight in here. I normally would go heavier on the smaller bore, but for a shock like this, for a truck like this, weight wise and everything, 40 weight is about. I could go 50 weight maybe, but I think 40 is good. Printed a bunch of those trash cans and used them for screws. Oh, telling you, that was one of those files that just seemed useful. Don't squirt that over yourself. Hey, the cap was on when that happened. Right. What do you think, Lance? 40 weight? 50 weight? couple of spoonage is going to fetch quite a premium 2 weeks before Race Wars. Love it, Chris. Good call. Uh, 40 weight is pretty much peanut butter out in the cold. See, I don't understand that. I mean, it gets a little chilly here in the morning, but it's not really that cold here. Right. Should probably put the spring on before I put the lower spring cup on. That'd be helpful. Hey Josh, what's Dom's favorite restaurant? Um, oh, God, what was it? Dang it. I remember the situation. I remember how Mia asked him, but I don't remember the answer. Damn it. Anyone else annoyed by his Cali smugness? Always bringing the warm weather. I mean, it's not that warm. Like this morning, it was like 43, 44. It's 18 degrees here. Your cold and my cold are not the same. The other guy like, oh, wait. Oh, Dominic. Well, damn it. Was the other guy Lance? Lance's favorite was Cha Cha's. You're right. I don't know why I was thinking Dom in that situation. Hey Josh, how long are those Black Friday deals going to run? Most of them until Black Friday. But like the Portal Builders Kit is already gone. That one is done. I expected those to last until Black Friday, but obviously not the case. So unfortunately, they didn't make it the full time. The straight axle builders kit will be hopefully last until Black Friday. Yep, feels good. I do need to put a regular shock in the or regular pivot ball in the bottom though, instead of this one. I'll pop it out of the other shock. Yep, that in there. I feel like I should have built these all optioned out and everything, but I suppose that can wait. That can wait until later. Let's see. Real question: how does it make you feel to see things you're involved with sell out, be in high demand? I mean, I don't know. It's weird. Like you want to think that decision. I obvious. I don't know if any of you guys have noticed, but I can be really opinionated at times. And with that, there is a chance that being so opinionated can mean that I'm wrong at times. What? So, when I have a strong opinion on something, for like something that I want to do or feel like we should do, whatever it is, if it, you know, works and sells well, it's like, oh, well, I guess I was right. But not saying there hasn't been times where that situation has proved to be incorrect. Now, part of my opinions are not necessarily thinking like, hey, I like this, so this is what we should do. But it would be like, in my opinion, the market is wants this or leans towards this versus that. Like you have to decide yes or no or green or blue, like whatever it is. You have to decide one or the other, X or Y. And you have to say, I think that they want this. And that can either be not the case or the case. You know, it's example. Example. Great question, Ben. Um, let's see. Um, what would be a good example of that? I'm going to keep thinking on that. It happens all the time, and there's some examples of it I don't want to use for reasons. I guess. Overdrive coming factory in the truck. There was that. Like that's one of them. Like we need to do this. We don't need to do this. This is a percentage that is reasonable versus detract. There's some people who will not or are not interested in a VFD or whatever it is because it can't have 0% overdrive. There is no 0% overdrive gear set. Now, we prototyped it and I had a 0% overdrive set somewhere. I can't remember where. But man, what did I use that in? I used it in something. It might be in that truck down there. I can't remember. But it's little things like that. Like, yes, 7% overdrive factory is a reasonable number. We'll go with that. I think that it is a better move for the market than zero, with an optional 20. So things like that. Gunnar Nissen, thank you, sir. Says, code tonight, Josh is never wrong. Indefinitely pinned. That oh, don't put user in timeout. Pin message. Go to Satisfied Jerky and save yourself some money while confirming that I am always right. What was my first 3D printer? My first 3D printer was made by a company called Robo 3D. And it was one of like the early mass produced or consumer, made for consumer 3D printers. God damn it. Had to get deep in there. Like mass produced printer, and not even mass produced, kind of, that was obtainable at a reasonable cost. I remember I paid 800 bucks for it. And it was just called like, I think it was called the Robo 3D. It was 800 bucks and I got it in, let's see, I was still back in Missouri. It might have been 2014 or so. Something right around there, 2014, 2013. It could have been 2012, but I don't think it was. I think it was 2014. And it was decent. It didn't last forever. It wasn't super accurate. The prints weren't amazing, but it got the job done. So, and it was, I don't regret it at all. Since then, I've had maybe 6 or 7 3D printers that I've slowly just kind of like, I like this, I don't like this, just worked my way up until I got the Prusa. And I don't want to, there would have to be something that was like a significant jump for me to want to like say, okay, I'm swapping it out. Was that the Tornado? No, the TiVo Tornado. That was like my third or fourth ever 3D printer, at least, maybe fifth. Ravensdale RC, thank you, sir. Hi, this is Lola, Jordan's daughter. My dad is a big fan of your channel, and so am I. Have a good night. Thank you, Lola. I know your dad. Much appreciated. Have a good night as well. Yep. I don't know why I put more green slime on it to put the rod end on, but that's okay. Do you think someone who can MIG weld can pick up TIG welding relatively easy? I don't think that TIG welding is all that hard, but I don't think that MIG welding is necessarily the most obvious parallel to it. I honestly think that if you've ever soldered, your like that is closer to how TIG welding is than MIG welding. I think that the biggest thing is that if you've MIG welded before, you know what it's like to have a helmet on and to see that spark and to be there. But TIG welding is like doing soldering, but it's hotter. So either way, you can do it, like, for sure. But, you know. Klein RC Motorsports, thank you. Been doing Instagram with RC content. Other than creating good content, what advice would you give for getting subscribers on YouTube? Yeah, the markets don't necessarily like transfer over all that much. Totally agree. Klein, do you do a lot of monster truck content? Is that? I feel like I've seen your name a bunch on Instagram. And I thought it was monster truck stuff, if I remember correct. Look, ding dong, what's going on, sir? I mean, quality content. I mean, again, like if you just want to gain a bunch of subscribers and get a bunch of video views, things like that, top 10 lists versus videos, this versus that type stuff, that gets clicks and views. I hate it. I don't like it. I find it super flawed, but it seems to work. It definitely works. So, depending on what your goal is, that. Beyond that, I've been doing this a really long time, and I have a decent amount of subscribers. I'm super happy with it. But for how long I've been doing this, there's people who have been doing it a year or 6 months and have more. And so, I'm not necessarily the one to be like, here's how you grow your channel fast. Nope. I am not your guy. But my YouTube channel did, get me my full-time job and make me quit my engineering career. So whether that's some days I'm not sure what's a win and what isn't. No, I'm super happy. I work in the RC industry. Super happy. It's a bad day. Worrying about toy trucks is better than a bad day fighting with politicians. And that was my life before. Just arguing with state representatives and city councilmen and local engineers or local, government. So there was days I would go home and be absolutely just drained, just mentally drained. I'll tell you guys a super messed up story later about how seriously like dejected and worn out I would be at the end of a day. But I'll do that at the end of the stream. I'll tell you how Nicole knew I was having bad days. Pauk, good to see you again. Hi, Josh. Saw an IG of a TRX4 on shock key and mounts I have. May send the link on Instagram. I want to know if you approve. Hear your opinion. Just hear your opinion. I'll take a look and send it over. If it's super tall, I'm like not likely to be a massive fan. I'll tell you that. Visions of diverging diamonds danced in his head. I loved that part of my job. What I hated was all the politics. Even though at one point in my career, my goal was to go into politics. Now, we make dick jokes on the internet. Yeah. Son of a bitch. I'll grab another one. I'm not looking for it. There we go. What axles are those? These are, this is a VS410 Pro underneath. So they're the F9 offset axles. Got it. We're getting our first diamond here in Sioux Falls next. Nice. You're going to be like, I know a guy who actually likes these stupid things. Diverging diamonds are popping up all over, and it's for good reason. I've told you all. Let's see. Josh, you've traveled a lot to drive RC. What are some of your favorite places you've ever crawled as far as terrain is concerned? So, Logan, one of my top 5 favorite places, man, I'm going to try and say not all Utah places because Utah is where most of my favorite ones are. The like Pioneer Park is one that immediately comes to mind right there in St. George. Uh, that's a top 5 for sure. Let's see. From there up in Washington, there is we had Scale Nationals in Washington, I think in 2012, and it was at Lucia Falls. That was another like top 5. Cherokee Rock Village down in Alabama, definitely on that list. Then Warsaw Caverns up in Canada was super cool. That would be 4 of my top 5. And let me think. Another top 5. It's probably got to be like Donner up here, like right by me. Donner or like my Silver Lake spot. One of those 2 spots is probably my next. They're all like very different types of rock and all that, and it's just they each have something. But and that's like trying to spread it out a little bit because up there's probably 10 spots up here that are amazing. Utah, up by like Little Moab, by Salt Lake was incredible as well. It's just it's so hard to pick. The other thing is that so many of like the places that I think are amazing, it's more because of like I remember this time I was there and crawling with friends, and like like I can relate a place to a really amazing time I had crawling with like really good people. And that is oftentimes why some places stick in my head as so amazing. So, because all of those places I've had really good times with people crawling, or just had like really good memories at. And so, heading out tomorrow with the camper to Cherokee Rock Village for a few days. Yep, good call. Good call for sure. Him, Hunsker, what's going on? Did you ever pull the servo part that failed last weekend at the comp? Wondering what broke. I did not. Do I have it here? Shoot, I don't. The truck is still at the office. I should do that though. Would be a good little dive into. People make a place. That's why. That's why I hate Oklahoma. God, Phoenix. That's brutal. Elephant Rock in Missouri is a blast. The best rock to crawl around Missouri. Probably, it's been a while since I crawled Elephant Rock, like probably 2008 or 9. One of my favorite places in Missouri was actually Capon Park in Columbia. And it's not got fantastic terrain, but it was pretty good. But again, I remember having like we had awesome comps there, like Missouri State. The like state crawl off was always there because it was in the middle, and it was a blast. So the again, it's kind of like one of those things I remember. I crawl almost every day here in Oregon. I do not crawl every day. I tell you that. I wish. I work on RCs about every day. I'll tell you that. And what do I do with the body panels? Yeah, I don't know. Don't worry. I bet Arizona has some good crawling. Yep. Arizona is on the list, speaking of, we need to finalize. Some of us were planning a trip down there this winter, end of January. End of January, end of February. Dang it, I can't remember. Um, it's something like that. One of those times, and we're gonna go down and see Barrett Jackson or Meekum. I think it's Barrett Jackson, and go to the auction and also plan to do some crawling. So that would be that's on my list, and it'll be the winter, so I think that we can go crawling at a reasonable amount of a reasonable time of day. It doesn't have to be like before the sun comes up. Stay at Ben's house. I think we're gonna get an Airbnb, but I think Ben's picking it. Ben and Nancy are always in charge of picking the Airbnbs. They have better taste. What's better, chicken or beef ramen? Neither. The only option in ramen is Oriental flavor. So, and I'll die on that horse. But if I had to choose one of those options, it would be chicken. That's why that's why Josh is blowing out wheels. Needs money for a fancy car for Barrett Jackson. Oh my god. Best ramen is Nogshim Gourmet Spicy Shin Ramen. See, that is some ramen connoisseur. I don't know if I've ever had ramen that was not in like the stereotypical ramen bag. Like I know that you can buy fancier ramen like in I've never even had like cup of noodle. I've only ever had the bag ramen. I've never had ramen at a fancy like ramen restaurant, anything. So, yeah. But I tell you what, you give me the blue bag Oriental ramen, I'm in. Just give me all that salt. Pho noodles. Oh, I love pho, whatever you want to call it. Love it. It is definitely on my. I get it most often when Nicole is gone or when I'm sick, because Nicole doesn't love it. So she either has to be not hungry, or I have to be sick, and it's just like I'm getting this. I don't care what you say. I remembered I needed to put or hook up the drag link because there wasn't one. That's why I needed to hook it up. Jeremiah, thank you again, sir. I went up to Taylor Falls last year to go crawling beautiful rocks, but when I got there, my servo horn fell off and I had no tool. I remember you sent me photos when you went up there. Wait, can you get Oriental flavor in California? I don't know. I just remember that's what it was called. I don't think that that is probably a like word or way you're supposed to put that here now, but I don't know what else to call it. That's what it was called. Faux show. But yeah, I get rare beef pho. Uh, that's that's the one that I get. I like it. Uh, I want extra of the fresh jalapenos. Those things in there. I could so order that tonight. Ooh, I have homemade tamales though. Karina brought me tamales that her mom. Ooh, I don't know if she or her mom made them. It's always the argument. I'm like, your mom. I think because I think hers are better than her mom's, but she likes her mom's better than her own. Karina is my head of packaging, so but I heard tamales. I heard tamales. I'll try one more time. Is there a company that sells an aluminum RC body for an SCX6. Ooh, not that I know of. I don't. What kind of aluminum body are you after for SCX6? That would be a very painful body to destroy almost immediately. It's all noodles and broth. See, these are the comments that get your YouTube turned off, Chris Hansen. Number 2, new Chris Hansen. Not non-moderator Chris Hansen, because it must be a second burner account. Or a third or fourth burner account. Or it's a different Chris Hansen. He said, yup, so. Josh will do the one chip challenge and do it. Ooh, no, I will not. Because I know that those things are legit painful hot. And honestly, freaking Armageddon is as much pain as I need to put myself in. Armageddon jerky. I tell you what, it'll damn near do you in. One chip tastes like crap. I have to imagine it does. Oh, looks good. That 11, we put this in a couple weeks back. This is the Reefs 1100 Smart. It's so smooth. Like you can hear it, but it's nice. Very nice. So this truck, I got that 800 IS internal winch in, 1100 Smart, put a Hobbywing Fusion in it. So, I mean, if I put a receiver up here and this thing's ready to go. Psh, done. Eat some Armageddon, be a man. Gunner, you do it. You be a man. No, I will not. KC Crawler, very smooth. Have one of my favorite. Yeah, you know what? The KC Crawler reminded me. One of my other like top 5 sentimental places to crawl is Goat Hill in Kansas City. I've had more fun there than almost anywhere. So much fun. It's not exactly the most insane, amazing terrain, but it's good terrain. It's in Kansas City, and it was a fantastic spot. That's like a top 5 for sure. Now, JST. I'm just cutting my zip ties so I can. Oh, Ben's back. There's Ben. Ben, was it January or February when that when the auction is? Armageddon can fuck right. Tony Mazza. 8:30 for breakfast in Placerville. What time should I pick you up? Reset to Tony, I've not heard anything. Cannot count on me. Plus, I need to get this crap out of my. I have deadlines coming up that are gonna bite me in the ass. End of January. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, we need to get that finalized. Nicole and I just bought our tickets home for Christmas. Oh. Flights are so freaking expensive right now. It was ridiculous. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna put my power switch. Ooh, I need to figure out where I'm gonna put a battery. That's what we should do. Do you run that one on 3S? Yeah, since it's got a Fusion in there, I have to run it on 3S for now, at least. Until we have a system like this that'll run on 4S. That's the plan. Jeep can't make the drive. Nicole and I would much rather drive. Absolutely. Driving would be my preference. But I want to, it's like I got to go home. And if I want to drive, that is going to add 5 days at least to the trip, most likely 6. So at that point, I like my trip, I either have no time back home or I'm gone for at least 2 weeks. It's just like, God. So, and it's probably more expensive to drive. That's a 1 day drive. That is not a 1 day drive. If you want to if it's painful, you can do it in 2 days. But 3 is a train there. I don't know how long a train would take, but I have to think it's like it would be ridiculous. I bet it would be. Yeah, I don't know. How long would a train ride to Kansas City take? All you can fly. Have you heard about the Frontier Airlines Go Wild Pass? No, I have not. All you can fly for $600. $600 what? A year? No. I would make that thing my. I would be. Nicole would take that as a personal challenge. That's. I'm texting Nicole to look it up. Look up, go. I have 25 missed text messages somehow. Sweet. You can tell it was a busy day. Look up the Frontier Go Wild Pass. There we go. Nicole's on. RCSTP Scale Trail Performance. It's a lot of words. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. On sale for $5.99 a year. Sale ends at 11:59 Mountain Time on November 18th. Oh, retail and revenue, or retail and renewal price $2,000 a year. Even at $2,000, that's not a terrible idea. $5.99. Oof, I'll just buy that for Nicole for Christmas. Here you go. Fly wherever you want. Letting your intern do all the work. Yeah. Five. I mean, includes international too. What? Like, I'll just get that for Nicole for Christmas. She can fly back home whenever she wants. Did you figure out what was going on with the servo from the local comp? No, Tim brought that up a minute ago. I haven't looked at it yet. Just, it's, I don't know where my radio box is. It might still be, where the fuck is Nicole tonight? She's like right out there. Honestly, she had a tamale right before this started and her mouth was on fire. She's like, my tummy hurts now. Renewal price of 2G, and you probably have to renew at least once or twice. That's still, like, we fly a lot. Like, I spend a lot more than that a year on plane tickets. Like, I would. It's not that bad. Taking 5 slot 12 turn or 5 slot 16 turn for the Phoenix, what do you suggest? Ooh, 12 turns about a 27, a little more, that's right around 27 turn. 5 slot, most people, I think the 16 turn is probably like what they're used to. 16 turn, run it on 3S. It's about your standard trail truck speed. Beyond that, rather than going the 12 or 13 turn route, maybe you just you go brushless later on down the road. But I'd say 16 turns like a safe bet, especially with the high overdrive. You're not going to burn it up then. Tell Nicole to eat a tamale, be a man. She comes in here, she's like, why do you guys like this feeling? Like, it doesn't do that to us. I haven't had anything burn my mouth since the last time I ate Armageddon. Stella says, step up. She sent you a pic. Stella, freaking Tony's dogs just are, they're always within 6 feet of the wood burning stove in his garage. And anytime past like October, it's like, nah, we'll be right here. Let us know if it's time to go inside. Wood burning stoves are a different type of heat though. Love the Crawlmaster 13 turn. The Crawlmaster 13 turn, it's a good motor. If you're, but I have to say 16 turn is like, I think what most people's like good status quo is. They're the best heat. It's like a different heat. It's like somehow it heats you from the inside. Let's see. Rolled the dice on my first Vanquish truck last night. Got the VS410 Phoenix. $845 later with shipping. I get it sometime early December all the way to Perth. Sweet. That is a long trip. It's like, oh, it's going to take forever. Yeah. Snow. I'm not ready for snow in the slightest. And this shit is leaving my garage tomorrow. Absolutely no way I'm not doing it. Plus, I'm not ready for the snow. After a few hours away from Instagram, my small page, how do you get your page after 4 to 5 hours? I imagine. So that is the thing with Instagram DMs. Honestly, the best thing Instagram ever did was the priority in general mailboxes. That solves so much. Because a lot of them are just like tags, so they're just quick, especially when we're doing the live stream takeover, and it's just like, make a post and tag us. So there's a lot of them that are just tags. So I try and open them all, but if it's just a photo tag or something like that, I'll usually just double tap real quick, heart, and move on, and just go through. But I can usually go through a pretty good number pretty quickly. Just be like, the ones that are like full questions, I just flag and then I go back to later. Flag or unread or unread, and then come back to that later when I've got some time. That's the biggest thing. Tell you what, a lot of people have got message responses while I'm in a particular room of the house or work or wherever it may be. I can find some quiet time. Okay, well, we were going to look at battery placement because I need to figure out where I'm going to put the battery so I can start designing the interior that will go in here, so I can get that all either vacuum formed or pressed out of aluminum. Yeah, we'll see. The closet? Stretch, thank you. Appreciate it. My Element crawls best on 2S, not 3. You use 4? Why? Well, I think that 4S, for one, you can use a smaller battery, so you have less weight. You can put it in a lower spot or wherever it is. It can just be a smaller battery. It will still give you the amperage that your system needs by having the higher voltage. That way it requires less amp draw, because volts times amps equals watts. So get it down, get it placed nice and tight. Also, then you can use motors that give you a nice wide range, but have that wheel speed still. So 4S is, for that reason, my choice, and what I think is the best choice for me. I think that it's still the way to go. How long do your 4S bats last? It depends. I've got a huge number. I mean, I've got 850 4S. I've got 1100, 1300, 1800. My 1300s and 1800s are probably what I use most on like trail trucks, like something like this. What I would generally take on a trail, I would usually run a 4S, like in my Pro. And they'll last me 45 minutes to an hour, you know? At least, you know, it depends on if I'm like, I'm not going to be at a dead sprint for that long. I'll tell you that. That's because of me. But, you know, normal trail driving around, it stays super efficient with that type of power. So it's the way that I go. Yeah. Let's see. So what you're saying is you respond to my DMs while you're driving. Can the Fusion Pro handle a 4S? I don't think so. I don't think that any of the Hobbywing Fusions can do 4S. I just received the straight axle builders kit doing shocks now. Was really happy when Vanquish released that. Good. Glad to hear it. Those will go away before too long, and they won't be a normal product. They're short term. That's it. And then gone. I get 12 to 13 minutes from a 380 4S in my comp trucks. Yeah, exactly. Now comp trucks generally super lightweight, a little bit different, but I agree. It's just like, you know, you can get really good time on it, and you get those nice small compact packs, especially in comp trucks. It's solid. And in a comp truck, you're only running 6 minutes if you're using every second of the clock. So, you know, I always charge between as long as I remember. I should say that. I always either charge or change packs between. I normally find that, like last weekend in the comps, each of those courses, I don't think I used over 200 milliamps on any course, because I've charged between courses with my little, what's that called? Q60 or Q8? Q8, I think. So it tells you exactly how much you use, and it was like 150, 180. I don't think I ever used over 200 milliamp. How do you store your lipos? Generally in just a lipo bag. I can't say that I do like the proper storage charging, storage amp voltage. Yeah, I don't. I should. I don't. Yeah. So, I'm usually running Holtzhauer Hobbywing, but I've been looking into Tekin. Is it worth it? I trail sometimes, but mainly looking at the performance side of things. I run a lot of Tekin, and you know, I've got it in a number of trucks. Lately, I have found myself mainly running Holmes and Hobbywing. Hobbywing, like this one here, I still feel like if I'm looking for all-out performance, this is not my ultimate setup. I like the Fusions. They're super convenient, but that's why I run them. They're smooth, which is nice, but they do not have the punch of some of the other available setups. So if I'm not super worried about that and I just want the convenience factor for whatever reason, like in this, I was like, I'm going to throw the Fusion in here because then I don't have to house an ESC and everything. And I'm going to try and keep all that stuff up here anyway. So then all of this and everything else it's just open for me to do whatever I want. I need to put a battery in here, and that's going to be it. I got to figure out a battery and make it look how I want it to look. So that's going to make it pretty easy. So, thoughts on the Max 4? I don't know. I don't have any thoughts on it. I don't 100% know what it is. So I don't even know. Woods Runner is tight under the hood. Ben, that's exactly right. Because in Ben's, there's a Mamba X right up here in this front portion, which is a chonky setup. And it doesn't have a VFD. So this VFD is like encroaching on it. In the one that Ben has, it's got a 3-gear where we put the forward motor mount, and it kind of hangs out there. And then the VFD, servos, all that. So it's like, it's starting to get pretty cramped. So I'm trying to avoid that a little bit. And no matter what, I think that I'm going to do a lot of very similar things to how that truck ended up. So Hobbywing Max 4 big vehicle setup. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. The only like big vehicle setup I have is in my Limitless over there. I've got the XLX2 and a TP power motor, but both have been unused. I think they're inside that body, but I am not 100% sure on that. So How many circles is this truck? Wait a minute. We don't talk in circles. We talk in squares. Because this is America. All right. Let me dig some batteries out so I can start, you know, guesstimating. Ooh. Ugh. I'm limping bad today after being on my feet all day. Okay, so what size battery am I going to make this for? It's like I've got all these 1800 4 cells now, but I can't use 4 cell. Those are the batteries I used for the Mayhem speed truck. Oh, hey, there's the cover for my GNSS. Aha. So this is a 3 cell 1300. That's a candidate. I don't know where my other battery bags are. Dang it. I mean, if I was smart, I should make this to fit a larger pack. A 5,000 milliamp 3S really, that's a great setup to just help absolutely destroy the nice aesthetics of a setup, though, isn't it? Like, no. Or we've got the 6,800 milliamp 6S. You know, it's like a 3S, but it's two of them. RCSTP, Scale Trail Performance, thanks again. Oh, I missed one from you. But, oh, that was a comment from above. Funny thing, I just bought the Phoenix and putting it together, and I've had an Ultra still in the shipping box, not even opened. Is it similar to the Phoenix? Yes and no. Like a decent amount, yes, but a lot, no. And so it's the bench seat. 15,000 milliamps, never charge it again. I've got a 30,000 milliamp that we could use instead. But is there a mAh limit for comp? Nope. You use whatever you want to make sure that you can still get through the course. Yeah. Let's see. Just grab the TRX battery. It's at work. I do have plans for that. I need to get back to that before too long. What are your thoughts on the Proline Sumo body? Was considering that for the builder's kit. I like it because do any of you guys remember, were any of you guys playing around with this stuff when the Axial Trail Ranger was out? It gives me it gives me Trail Ranger vibes, and I dig it. I've got a new Trail Ranger here still, and I didn't use it because I was just like, I don't want to waste it, and got to find the right time for it. It's such a cool body, and it came out. I was just like, it reminds me of that, which is cool. So I like it. It won't be for everybody, of course, but I don't think it's as offensive looking as some of the releases that have come out recently. Let's see. How short is that wheelbase? Wait, which wheelbase? This one is 12.3. This is a standard size trail truck, 12.3. The Sumo, also 12.3. Question, would an SCX3 overdrive gear set fit in the F10 Pumpkin? Yes, same gear set. Direct swap. Are you going to build a UTB 18 new capper? Yep, I've got one. So I've got the UTB 18 and I've got a custom chassis that I've started working on that will take the Tamiya hard body Wrangler, and it'll basically go right under it. I'll cut the fender flares off. I'll cut the top off. I'll cut that front bumper off. And it'll make it a little bit more of a tiny scale truck. So that is my plan for my UTB 18. I'll be ditching the chassis. I'll use probably the shocks. I'll use the skid plate, the drivetrain, and yeah, it'll be kind of fun. I got some Class 0 crawlers for this as well. But it's going to be a cool little fit, right? Something different. So yeah, it's a YJ. Not my favorite, but still be pretty cool. This body came on the Tamiya CC01 back in the day. Still playing BeamNG? Yes, I am actually. I hadn't played for quite a while, just with the rush of everything going on, mayhems, and just being so crazy busy. But I've played it actually a little bit the last 2 weeks. And actually, there's a comp this Sunday that I may participate in. A BeamNG crawling competition. Cones, the whole deal. So, yeah. Okay. Ooh, you know what I could do? I bet you that if I did it on the passenger side, I could come up with a bottom exiting battery setup to drop this out, make the interior solid and look fairly cohesive, and then have this have a release that would drop it out, so I could pull that out. That way I never had to pull the body off or have to dig in there for anything like that. There's a nice tube mount right here, which I could mount the hinge around. I could build it around that clamping, then go in, even if I have to remove the screw, because there is a tab right here that's threaded. Even if I have to remove a screw, I'm totally fine with that. The ripper, I have to remove 4 screws to pull the hood off. But if I do that, it just swing down. I could have a nice tray. Maybe I just build it for these 1300 milliamp size packs. Yeah. Yeah. I am up for that. I like that idea. Then I end up with a ton of interior space still. Nothing has to be removable or has to be pulled off. Then the body just is set. Yeah. Dual batteries. I could do a battery on each side, or I could have it wired in parallel so that it would accept them. And even if I sacrificed the depth of the interior a little bit for it, it would be fine, because it looks so deep anyway that it would be easily hidden. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Do a swing down style battery. Be super easy. I'll use my I'll design it specifically around these XT60s. So it's an XT60, the female side, or sorry, the male side, the side that goes on the ESC, but it's got mounting points on it. So I'll cut, and these will be hard mounted, like hard wired in back here, something like that. That way when it swings down, it's mounted in there, and I can actually just reach in and just push without having to like hold both sides or anything like that. And you can just pop it in there and be able to pull it out without anything. Yeah, that is what we'll do. It would be nice to have that mounted towards the front, but then we're looking at fender well area and all that. And either that or I'd have to go pretty high, which I could put kind of a false wall in there. It feels like I could cheat a little bit more of an inner fender corner in there. Yeah, like the Rockray type style. So I think that would be reasonable. And again, I may cheat a bit of an inner fender angle in there to help create some more depth underneath of the hood. Build the plug into the seat, into a seat bottom. I could do that because the seat will sit in there. I have the seat size done. So this is one of those racing seat models that I've got. This is the one that I use and modify for most of the things that I have. That I've got this design pretty well nailed to give me the right look that I want. So this will probably need to sit. Again, high back racing seat like this. This needs to be pretty much up there. Pretty high. So it's going to sit about that high anyway. Get this in there. Yeah, we still have. We don't have a ton of space without modifying proportions of the seats like I would want. I still have 6-8 millimeters at least though, which is plenty to be able to enclose everything nicely and have it look appropriate. But we're gonna have to be pretty conscious of keeping it tight. Keep it tight. There you go. That's my thought process. That's all I have to say about that. I like it. If I do run duals, that'd be 2600 milliamps. That's plenty. And we'd be good. G Coupe 2. GC Coupe 2. GC Coupe. I always like to try and figure out what people's usernames mean. GC. What's it mean? I want to know now. How do you slow down a Capra RTR for better crawling, gearing, or full transmission axle swap? My suggestion would be a transmission swap. The axles are good. Axles are fine. They've got great reduction overall. But the transmission reduction sucks. You can go to like a super, you can like try and shave the case and get things moved in a way to get the pinion over there to get a really tiny pinion. But what my preference has been is the UC Fab 3-gear transmission skid plate and a standard 3-gear trans. That's sorry, laughing because I'm looking at comments coming in and someone goes, "Guess what mine means?" Name meat sleeve. GC Coupe like a Subaru? Oh, is that a Subaru? Which Subarus are GC Coupes? It's so damn loud. Subaru body 95 to 99 GC two-door coupe. Is that like the 2.5 RS and like the wait, 95 to 99? I gotta look up what that one is. Do I know? Nerds. Yes. Okay. Those are definitely pretty iconic. Let me see. 95 to 99 GC coupe. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, the 2.5 are those. Yeah, Colin McRae Subaru. Yeah, exactly. Yes, 100% with you on those. Those are pretty good. Do I need to install the motor first in the Phoenix, or can I still mount it after? I suggest mounting it after. Get the entire. You need to get it. You need to install it before you put it in the truck, but get the entire transmission built first. Then go back and put the motor in. Opposite of how the instructions say. But yes, that is what I would suggest. Okay. So the one bummer, of course, is that this does have body post holes in the hood, but I'm not super worried about that. We can figure something out for that. Not going to be a hood scoop or anything, but one day I'll come up with the brilliant idea of what I plan to do there. I tell you what, though, I'm pretty happy with the dropout battery tray thought. Yeah. Okay. Or you can be like me and forget it until it's done. What? Needed a truck, so I traded my STI in on the Taco. I had Subarus close to 20. Yes, we gave. We always joked with Travis about his Subaru ownership, but now he's got himself a bright blue Toyota truck. Still stayed with the blue, but use the post holes for exhaust pipes. No. I mean, not that I don't love me a hood exit exhaust from a turbo, but that's just my Cletus McFarland fanboy coming out. Anybody watching the pay-per-view for the 2.4 hours of Le Mullets and Cletus and Cars this weekend? Where'd my other screw go? I had another body mount screw somewhere. Is it stuck to a tire? No, not stuck. Is it in there? Nope. Hmm. Did I drop it? That's always a thought. I did. I did. Pay-per-view still a thing? It is. It is nowadays, especially. All right. So, I mean, we still have a lot to figure out, but this truck in the end will be epic, of course. Why paint over the headlights? You know what? That's a great question, Dro Wildcat. That was done by Moose Jaw. He forgot. He just didn't mask them, which is fine. I'll cut these out entirely, and I'll use the Vanquish Q Series lights because they'll be wild bright, and they have their own lenses, so I don't need to have them in there. So another reason why using 3S will be fine. Time to use the nitro fuel. I could do that too, or I could just go with Q Series lights. Q Series is the way to go. If you've never seen Q Series in person, they're a different level of bright. The Incision light kits also are very bright, not Q Series bright, but they're very bright, and for the price, they're pretty awesome. Do Q Series fit the Phoenix? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Same size as the stock buckets. They were all designed to be interchangeable. What mods have you done to your 1-to-1 Jeep besides the sound system? Ceramic coat, windshield protection. That's about it. I have the lift kit in the garage for it. It's just not installed. I still haven't chosen wheels or tires. You know. It's such a you know what I did do today? I did $3,200 in mods to the black Jeep today. Yep. Bed cover. Yep. That's got that one. That's right, Ben. But yeah, the old Jeep, the black Jeep, she needed basically a full front end rebuild. So all ball joints, uh, you know, tie rod, fucking, let's see, steering stabilizer, sway bar bushings, the whole thing, alignment, everything. Yeah. So mods or maintenance, same. But honestly, that truck made it 190,000 miles without needing that. So I'm not mad. 3,200, holy cow. Yeah. Well, that was with a full brake job as well. New pads, machined rotors, everything. Yeah. It happened. It needed it. It's cheaper than a car payment. I'll tell you that. So, not that mad about it. It's just like, oh, does it still have a flat tire? No, Phoenix. I bought new tires for it like a while ago. But Nicole went to San Francisco. Was it last Friday night? Yes, it was last Friday night. Was it getting the death wobble? Yeah. Nicole called me on, and she was almost to San Francisco and said that all of a sudden, like, it got death wobble so bad she had to pull over a bunch. I was like, okay. I was like, well, is how bad is it? Can tow it, or you can come up. She drove it home. Just every over a certain speed, if you hit a bump, like whoa. So yeah, it got the maintenance. Did she have all her wheel nuts? Yep, they were all on. She was quite disturbed by the amount of death wobble though. So, but hopefully that's not a thing anymore. I drove it home today after all the work was done. Yay. Those bills sucks. Sucks. Bon Jovi, everyone. Wait, I don't think that's how that goes. I'm spending money on car accessories too. I'm gonna get some Birkenstocks to properly drive my Subaru. I'm thinking about getting a Subaru soon because I'm almost gonna be able to put this in a man bun here very shortly. So, once I can fully man bun this mop, then maybe we'll trade her in and get a Subaru. It's so long. It's off the screen. It's so long. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so battery stuff done there, or thought of at least. I need to design it. Are the Wheels of Fortune going to be going back in stock? Probably more this weekend, depending on who is available to work. As long as people are available, then yes. It's all just about when we can get them done. That's the whole thing. New Forester for Josh and his man bun. How tall did you go on your lift for your Jeep? It's like a 2-inch. 2-inch in the rear, 3 in the front. It's very basic. Very basic. Just enough to clear a slightly larger tire. Because I still want some meat on the tires after I go to 22s. I don't want just like tiny, so a little bit of a lift just to give me a little bit meatier tire around that rim. So that's the idea. If I go, I might just stick with 20s instead of going to 22s, but we'll see. We'll see. Moose Jaw says he'll come by and do some Wheels of Fortune. Hey, there you go, Moose Jaw. That could be fun. You in town this weekend? My hair's halfway down my back. Holy crap. My Pro had all 6 wheel hubs fall out of the right front wheel twice in one day. 2 different sets of wheels. Any ideas? Never had that happen before. Definitely have the wrong screws. There's 100% positive chance you have the wrong screws in there. It can't be. There's no way. There's no other way that could happen. I can't. Like, you got 256 and a 440 hub. Like, if you used the stock hub screws that came with the Pro and you tried to install them on Vanquish wheels, that would have to be it. Have to be. Blasphemy. 22s equals mall crawler. Yeah, I don't go to malls. So, let's see. Mine used to be at my waist, but I was 13 at the time. It was 1979. You know what I like about them high school girls? They stay the same. I keep getting older. They stay the same age. Were you surprised by the Wheels of Freedom? I keep calling them Wheels of Freedom. I do that every day at work. And it was my, not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that the whole thing was my idea. People at work want to take credit for it. I'll let them because I can't prove it or totally remember. But I keep calling it Wheels of Freedom. Was I surprised by it? No, because it's a really good deal, and it was something that we thought would be like super fun. So it was more about just having some fun for the holidays. Like that was the main purpose of it. It's not something that we could keep doing forever because it takes way too much work. Like way too freaking much work. But it's like, it'll be fun. So every once in a while, Dealer's Choice was a good name too. You're right, Ben. Ben was a prototype run for the idea. He's just like, hey, I need some new wheels. I was like, I get to pick? Like, yeah, Dealer's Choice. Okay. Okay. Did Vanquish Disco AR60 spools? I need some for my Bomber, or should I just go with the VXT? The discontinued. They're not, I wouldn't say discontinued yet. They probably will come back. They're on the list. I have to make them. They're on the list. It's just I've got a lot of other things on that list of things that I need to machine, so they just keep getting pushed back. So that's mainly on me, but you know. 1718R on 33 or 35 is perfect look performance on a Jeep. Anything else seems overkill. No. 20, 22 on a 35-ish. It's perfect. I've got 18 stock, you know. So like going to 17s, I'm like, I don't think I can do it. I could, but there's a spacer left when I finished building my front axle. Did I miss something? What does the spacer look like? Is it very thin? Is it large? Like, how long is that list? Forearm, whole arm, leg, whole body? It's a lot. I've got two of the machines that I've got to keep going, and it's just like it's a lot. It's a lot of shit to do. So 40s and 22s. I drive too much. Yeah, if it's just like a very thin, like thinner than a washer, that's a shim for the drive shaft. You put it on the outside between the drive shaft and the bearing, and it'll just help keep everything a little bit more like just tight. But that's just like, it's not needed. It's a tuning thing. If you want it, it's there. If you don't want it, you don't have to use it. If you forget it, you lose it, whatever, nothing is going to be wrong. But if it's like a larger spacer, then you know, it can go here on the knuckle side. So yeah, 40s are the new 37s. Yeah. I don't want 37s either. I run 24s on 33s on the 3/4 Ram. But they're 24 5s, right? A little different. And they weigh 1,000 pounds. Josh B. Man, go 40s and re-gear. Absolutely not. I want nothing to do with it. Did my hobby shop lie when they told me 2.2s were coming back from VP? David Ferris, do you live in Utah? Specifically somewhere in the vicinity of West Valley Hobbies? I'm just wondering. Just wondering. I run 15s on a Toyota Yaris. Ooh, you went with the big wheel package. Thought those would come with 13s or 14s. So let's see. So I need some green wheels for my Phoenix. Does Vanquish have any plans? Not currently, no. Unless they are special in a mystery box, but I can't tell you. No, they're tins, but I keep them clean. I still run 16.5s on 35 on my old school power. 16.5s? What's 16.5s? I don't remember 16.5s. One like 14.5s, like an old trailer tire size. I don't remember 16.5s though. Maybe David. Two twos will likely be coming back fairly soon. I don't know how soon, but yes, two twos will be coming back. I won't tell you when, anything like that. They're just going to come back one day. Maybe with different styles, maybe not. I don't even know. Crashing the resale market. Yeah, it's an old truck size. Huh. Unlike Rich's AE86, my AE86 runs 15 Hoshinos, unlike his 14-inch. Huh? Are his 14-inch four-spoke? 16.5s are 70s and 80s. Ah, that's why I don't know anything about them. Matt said you don't do anything at work but push a button or two. They're important buttons, though. 14s on my E30, 16s on my 3/4 ton. I had 14s on that Honda Accord I used to have before the white one. I don't think you guys probably ever saw it in any video. It was, oh, that's not true. It definitely was in a video or two. It was a 94 Accord. It was Nicole's car when I met her. And she drove that car. And one day, the radio in that car stopped working. And Nicole, like, if the radio can't be on in the car while she's driving, like, she'll just run into a pole. Like, if it shuts off, she won't know what to do. So she's like, "Can you please fix that radio?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll get to it." And then I just didn't, and I didn't. And she's like, "You need to fix that. I can't drive it without a radio." So I was like, "Just take the Jeep." And then I just started driving that car because the radio wasn't fixed, and I just drove it for like 3 or 4 years. I really like West Valley Hobbies. Great people there. Not sure how you know, though. It's because I know Mike really well. Mike at West Valley. If you guys are ever in the Salt Lake City area, go to West Valley Hobby because it's a amazingly stocked store. Like they have a certain amount of space, which isn't huge, but they have everything. So if you're ever in Salt Lake, stop there. But I know Mike, and I've talked to him a million times, and I'm not bullshit. I'm like, yes, 2.2s are coming back. And if I tell a store like that, I don't expect, it's not a secret then. Like I know, I'm telling them, they have no confidentiality. So, but he's like one of the very few that I like have that conversation with. So that's why I'm just wondering. So, did you enjoy Jeremy? I have it, but I didn't like. I haven't. I like. Oh, I saw what it is, and I kept it closed because I wanted to have it for when Nicole is back on here. So we haven't enjoyed it yet, but we will. But I want her to be on the stream when we do. Without a radio for that long, I'm going on 3 years. I can drive in total silence, and like I'll just think the whole time. Like I have no problem with that. I can just drive. Like in the mornings, I don't necessarily turn the radio on. If I do, I'll like plug my phone in and turn a YouTube video on and listen to it while I drive. Because I have YouTube Premium, so I can turn the phone off. Being safe most of the time. So but other than that, I can just drive with it off. So it didn't bother me in the slightest. It was a 94 Accord. But that had 14s on it. That's why I brought it up. And it was, I remember trying to get tires for it at one time. And they're just like, yeah, we don't have anything. Like we don't I don't even know if we can get these. I was like, can you, is there anything? And they're like, oh, and then they ended up finding something. And they were like the hardest tires ever. I remember they would squeal doing just, you just go like around a normal corner at a posted speed. And it sounded like you were in a car chase at all times. So, same. I like to hear the road and engine noises when I drive. Oh, I don't care about that. It could be, I could be in a sound chamber. It's just like, if I have the rate, there's I either drive in silence or I make phone calls. It's a huge percentage of the time. If I'm driving home, I will be on a phone call or a couple of phone calls the entire time. It's like, if it's Friday, I call my mom, touch base, see what's going on. Usually try and do that every Friday. Let's see. Tuesdays, I would call my buddy Jake back home. Yeah, there's like, it's all over. So I just schedule. Tony, are you buying breakfast or lunch? Damn it, Tony! I have no response. I have no response from anybody, and I got another message yet. Killing me. Is YouTube Premium required at your level? At my level of addicted to YouTube? Yes. It's beyond that. No, there's nothing to do with like the channel or anything like that. I know a lot of guys who don't. I tell you what, YouTube Premium I find a lot of my entertainment to be from YouTube. So for me, it's absolutely just worth it. I just turn YouTube on and I don't have to listen to ads, and then I have YouTube Music as well. So if I do want to listen to music, I've got ad-free, unlimited skip music. Works well. So it just happens to work. Speaking of your parents, how's your dad with the stump finger? They're doing pretty well. My dad just finished a new outbuilding for their shop, which like matches the house. They built it in that style right next to it, and it's the exact same size as the house. So, good for him. And yeah, they sent me a picture from inside that today. Still has all his digits? No. He lost another one this summer. Maybe you weren't here. It's called Ad Blocker. Sorry, Josh. No, it's not. For one, YouTube Premium still gives all the creators their ad revenue. Or not ad revenue, but it gives them revenue from my watch time still. Is the new outbuilding powder infused? I know. This one is one story now. So he can't he can only make it no stories. Hopefully he doesn't have any explosions in this one. For anyone who doesn't know that story, he blew up the second floor of his outbuilding in a house a couple, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And rather than repairing that, he just put a roof back on the first story. It's a one story now. And he had the new roof, and he had to build rafters and sheet and shingle the whole thing, and he was pretty, he had some proof left on him of how it happened, but he still had that thing done in a couple of weeks. It was pretty impressive. I mean, blowing it up with him in it was not impressive. My least favorite of his hobbies, but yeah, that was a phone call. I was super happy to get. Joker 51 or 510714 recommendations for a 4S battery under 850 milliamp. The Gens Ace has some, I believe, 4S 450s that are a good size. Do I have any here? No. I have 4S3, uh, 4, I have 3 cell 450s here. Oh, they're with my comp truck. I do have some. Tony actually had gave me some that were in a truck of his. What size are these? These are a different brand. These are a Pulse brand. These are also a 3S 450, um, but they're just a little, they're just a little brick size. But I believe that you can get a 4S in this size as well, which makes for a nice compact little battery. You need to partner with your dad for some videos. I don't, you know, getting him to sit still long enough to do it would be the problem. He'd be like, okay, yeah, let's go. We're done with this now. Would you say the servo was the last thing you blew up? Yes. Yes, definitely. Thank you, Jeremy Burris. You're welcome to check it out. It was mostly meant for you. Just want to figure something funny you two can put together. Most definitely. And we most definitely will. So I appreciate it again. Let's see. Um, let's see. For me, it's 1911. Oh, okay. So it's Happy International Men's Day. Stay strong. Didn't know that was a day. International, though, so it must be. Josh, stretching a 1.9 tire on a 2.2 wheel, performance-wise, any plus? It's what would it be? Debatable. Being that there is less sidewall, there would be less chance of roll. There's gonna be arguments both ways. For me, it's not the look that I usually like, just because it kind of pushes the sidewall funny. So I don't think that it's something that I look to do all that often. I've done it in the past, but I usually prefer just to stay the stronger one. But I mean, if you look at like super trucks, the comp crawlers that are called the super class, they run the great big, like 7-inch diameter. They run a pretty small sidewall all the way around and a much larger wheel. So, and it's for that reason. You don't have a lot of rollover or things like that. They conform well still, and it's obviously been something that's proven to work well for trucks of that scale. So it can work on smaller ones, but style and performance is going to be a huge difference when you're looking at 100 thou difference, per side. Maybe not. Will I be attending Slippery Rock Scale Challenge? I've not heard of that. I don't know where that's at. So at this point, no plans. Good brushed ESC that can handle 4S. Aha, the 4S caveat. The Copperhead. I think the Copperhead would be the one that I would immediately think of. Would probably, let's see, the Holmes BRXL, that's one. I don't know how that one stacks up right now price-wise to the Copperhead, though. I thought the Copperhead was cheaper. Maybe the BRXL has become a little bit cheaper. BR Mini can, but I mean, the problem with the BR Mini is it doesn't have a heat sink, so your only active heat sink is the motor wires. So you have to, depending on your use, you either have to be cognizant of that or Copperhead is brushed. Yeah, Copperhead can be put in brush mode, I believe, as far as I'm aware. Almost all of them can be programmed to brush mode, and then you just use the 2 outside wires. So, yeah, but that would probably be my initial thoughts for what I would look to use. I used the BRXL a lot back in the day, which is a good ESC. I just haven't checked price on that, but I would price check it, see if it's comes down to a price wise, it's close. The programming on that was great. It's waterproof as well. It'd get the job done for you. And it's still a censored. Was that one? That one was censored, right? Because it was the Mamba Max Pro version. So, Pitbull tires or Proline tires? Proline for me. I liked the Pitbull, like the original Rock Beast was pretty awesome. But it was kind of a size that it's not as popular now. And then the Rock Beast XL and like the Alien Compound was pretty good, but I never felt like it was as good as the tires that I was running, at the same, next to them. So I just never went in the, trying like the old school, what else was there? Like they had the grapplers and the Mad Beasts or things like that. And it just never, I never found another one of them that was like, yep, this is a tire I really like. The only one I ever liked was that original Rock Beast. Did you ever try out the ISDT ESC that released earlier this year? Yep, I do. I've got it in a Phoenix. So I tried the ISDT, the regular, run-of-the-mill 1060, 1080. Just kind of tried a number of those options, just basic RTR, level ESCs. 1080 obviously a little bit nicer, but the 1060. 1060 was still the way that I ended up going. I do like the just for like super basic brush stuff, 1060 is such a just easy drop in and go. The ISDT, it is nice that it comes with that Bluetooth thing. And it, but I just didn't end up like overly loving it so much that I was just like, this is all I will use for inexpensive ESCs now. What, no 55-gallon drink tonight? I lost my big jug of water. I lost for like 2 weeks somehow, and then ran across it 3 days ago. I was like, hey. So Nicole refilled it for me, and then I left it in the Jeep all day. 1080 is the way. 1080 is definitely the better ESC. But like if I'm telling someone like super cheap way to go, 1060 is like, if you want to be just cheap, like it's a good way to go. How did you lose the fire? It's a great freaking question. I don't even remember how I actually found it or where I found it. I just remember finally finding it and going, I think it was at work, and I just set it somewhere like outside of my normal path in the shop. And then I like ran back across it one day. I was like, hey, who put that there? Couldn't have been me. Is that a Vanquish body? Yep, this is the body from the VS410 Pro and Ultra. It's just got the roof cut off, and it was the half cab, but roof's cut off, and it's been narrowed an inch or 3/4 of an inch right down the center. So, yeah, it is. It looks really good though. I really like it narrowed. 1080 is cheap. 1080 is cheap, but it's not as cheap as a 1060. And sometimes when people are like looking for like cheap, the difference between $5 is the difference between basically buying a free motor. How much is the 1060? It's like $23, depending on. The thing is that it's the 1060 is available under so many different brands for the exact same thing that many brands, how they resell it, it can be cheaper than a number of the other ones. So like I think that so Element used to sell, or Reedy, I guess, used to use the 1060, but then they ended up, let's see, 1060. The 1060 is $21.99 retail. That has come down quite a bit. But Element, or Reedy, I guess, Associated, used to use Hobbywing for their electronics and like that ready run stuff. Now they've changed to Surpass, which is a cheaper version. Surpass is like the other big OEM, and it's not as good as like the Hobbywing stuff, but it's cheaper. It's a little bit smaller, so it has its pluses and minuses. But let me go lowest price. I've been really liking the Radiolink ESC. It comes in at 30. I haven't used the Radiolink one. Where is their ESCs now? Let's see. Because I think that they only have the Surpass brushed stuff now. And no, power buttons, motors. They're definitely not. So now, yeah, now theirs is the Surpass, and it's $27.99. What's a good entry-level expandable 3D printer for RC? Expandable is a tough qualifier to throw in there. Like, most 3D printers can be expandable in some way, but I don't know that is like something I would throw in there as a qualifier. The Enders, the Ender 3 Plus or whatever they're at now, Pro, is just a good way to go. It'll get you in the door. Huge user base, lots of problem solving help out there, tons of blah blah blah. So it's worth the look at to start from. Cheap as well, readily available. You can have it from Amazon in a day. So I got the Surpass Rocket for an SCX-24 monster truck. But yeah, I've seen a lot of their little motors like that they sell for that stuff. Surpass is a big factory. They make a lot of that stuff. It's just, some of it compared to like Hobbywing stuff is, it's arguable as far as what would be, that the Hobbywing would be better. I rock an Ender 3 V2, do all my printing on it, works perfectly fine, 900 PTG all day, big enough for everything but bodies pretty much. Yeah, there's very few times I run into stuff that the size-wise is a little too small. I run into it in molds every once in a while, things like that, but it really is a good size for most things. See above for my question. Is it still on the screen? Oh, there's. Besides 7PX, do any other Futaba controllers come with a gyro in receiver? How many Futaba receivers have a gyro? Ooh, I actually don't know that. I didn't know about any of them that have a gyro. It's never been something that I've really looked to find. I guess I don't know. I'd have to go to their website and look as well. Power Hobbies have an ESC that's comparable to the ISDT. Hobbywing says 4S capable. Well, Power Hobbies just a rebrand company. They don't make anything. So it's got to be somebody's that they're just pulling off the shelf and putting a name on. Because that's all that Power Hobbies does. So I've got some of the Power Hobbies stuff. I don't have their ESC, but it's just somebody else's. So I'm not sure which one it could be. Could be that Radiolink. Could be, who knows. But yeah. It's got to be one of the names that's easily findable. I meant expandable as far as being able to do more intricate stuff as skill level grows. I mean, they're kind of all they'll all do about the same thing, and at any time. It's really just going to be more about your drive to push on what you want to do. Matt is the basher nudge. Matt's kind of a basher. He's like, oh, I don't want to jump too big now. That's getting close. Thoughts on the FlySky Noble? I'm not a fan. Not a fan of any of the FlySky stuff, really. I've owned it. Even had like one of the earlier Nobles. I don't like any of the FlySky stuff personally. I know a lot of people do, and it's super cheap, and there's things you can make them do, but I don't like them. I've never been at an event that had a large number of people that had any, the only radios that ever had problems were the FlySkys. And, I've seen it a lot of times. So, none of your photographers have a gyro. I'm surprised. I would have thought at that level it would be included. I don't know if any of them do. It's definitely not something I use, and it's not, it's not something that's really. I know like AVC is common in like Spectrum stuff, but yeah, it's just not It's not something I've never really used. Or cared to use in a lot of situations. So yeah. Yeah, that's the gyro. Gyro is a flight thing for ESCs. Well, I guess, right? So, I mean, I have like some of the Futaba standalone gyros, but that's it. The links on your desk look black from this view. Those look black? Huh, I guess they kind of do. That weird reflection. Until I put my hand, just my back wall, I think, right? Let's see. Is that your new comp truck? No, this is just like this is just kind of like one of my, I don't know what you would call this. Kind of a unicorn truck. It's a truck that, it's the exact style of the truck that I want. It is the Scout style. It's slightly narrowed. It has the exact cage design that's based on the original Woods Runner design that I kind of used. That was based on, there was a full-size truck built by a guy named Cody Sears out of Colorado. And he built the truck, and he nicknamed his truck the Woods Runner. And that is what I used to like make a template for the very first Woods Runner I ever built myself. And then later on down the road, I sold that, and I'd seen a couple of other people. Some other people, I distributed those pamphlets for free for years. They're still for free available on my website. But it's always just been the style. This reversed, this type of cut on the rear tailgate, the specific division of the rear with these vertical bars close to the outside edges, and specifically the Scout 800 style. I had one before. I built my first one on an SCX-10 frame with SCX-10-1 Curry axles, dinky RC skid plate transmission thing that was like not great. And that was the first one I owned. I sold that. The second one I ever owned was built on an SCX-10, but with nice offset axles, Vanquish offset axles. But the cage work was beautiful. And it had a narrowed C10 body on it. And it was like probably one of the, like, my favorite trucks. It was like so good. But it was still on an SCX chassis. And I was just like, okay. And it didn't have the body I really wanted. And Ben wanted it in here, Scale Crawler Fab Shop. So I made a deal with Ben, and I sold him that and my Class 1. And then I used that money to buy my CNC. So it was like I sold those so I could buy something I really wanted. And I think was a big help to me. But I only sold it to that after I talked to the guy who built the original cage. I was like, my ultimate for that would be that cage design on a VS410 with a VFD, this body. And once he agreed, I agreed to sell it to Ben. And now I have this. And this is one of those trucks that one day I'll finish, and it'll be exactly what I want. And I'm not in any hurry, but it's just going to be that truck. I don't care about going crazy, like this or that. I just want it to be the details that I need. It'll be laid out perfectly, and I want to do things exactly how I want. Let's see. What is your experience with those HK Hobbies ESCs? I've got a couple. That's what I've got in my little moon buggy build over here. So this is a UC Fab moon buggy cage, modeled after the JHF. Sorry, hold on. Modeled after the Jesse Haynes Fab moon buggy. And, well, I had it hooked up at one time, but I do not currently. And this is the HK Hobbies Revolver, or not Revolver, Outrunner. And that is the HK Hobbies ESC, tiny little guy. It's pretty cool. It's super smooth. It's got the FOC programming in it as well. And then I've got all of that on a deluxe portal transmission. So that's my whole transmission, motor, ESC setup. It's just that. That thing doesn't take up hardly any space. And yeah, pretty sick little deal. I have had a couple of them that maybe were bad out of the box. Maybe it was a wiring thing. I don't know. But it's hard to say. They do come in a way that you have to do most of the work yourself. So it's not super plug and play, easy peasy. But for the benefit of what you get with some of it, it's pretty freaking rad. Yeah, AM32 based, yeah, very similar. There's tons of those types available. And if you want to get them and then do the work and flash them yourself and all that, you can get them pretty cheap. If you just want to buy it done, these little AM30, these HK ones are pretty sweet. AM32 doesn't really do FOC yet. Yeah, I mean, truly, like true FOC, none of them do. I don't think, like with the true amount of sensors that FOC would need. I think like even Hobbywings FOC isn't like truly field oriented control. It's like, I've got into some in-depth conversations with like what true FOC is and how and how the RC one is using it, but calling it FOC. I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not an electronics engineer, and I understand what you're saying a little bit, but just barely, and I wouldn't even be able to repeat it. Thoughts on G-Speed chassis? I built one. What did I? I've owned 3 or 4 maybe, and they're good. They're fine. If I was building another flat rail today, I don't know it's what I would buy. Personally, I mean, there's I don't have anything against them. It's just honestly the like building experience wise, the Brazen is still one of my favorites. I just felt like kind of some of the stuff around it was my favorite. I really liked it. I built that Rock Pirates one as well, which was pretty decent. It doesn't have a lot of the features that I do like in some of the others. It doesn't have an angled skid. It's got a really long belly as well. It's a super easy build though. Like, man, it's an easy build to do. And yeah, the there's just little things here and there. Each of them have something like I like or don't like. Just a matter of it. Do you have any recommendations for motor ESC for the new 1/18th Capra? I haven't changed any of it out personally yet. I know ones that I would like probably try, but I don't have any like I can't say like this is the one I like. This is my favorite. Yeah. Can we count on a stream with John Holmes? Love hearing him talk nerd stuff. I know. We should have him back on. He is good. He is great to have on. Teleguided. What's going on? All day in the shipping department. Hey, did a certain green truck? No, it definitely did not. that's like a whole process. It's got to come from here. I got to make sure I've got everything. You're gonna need a minute there. Is that a copy of a WeRock chassis? Yeah, yeah, basically. Jesse Haynes Fabrication is the builder of the full-size versions. This is a scale version of one of his with a little 3D printed Ecotech 4-banger in the back. How about pinion gears that fit the UTB-18? Again, I haven't changed any of that yet, so I don't know. Is Flip That Truck coming back? Love that series. I don't think so. Nobody else did. That series did not get any views. So it was a ton of work for it, and I tried it a few different ways and it didn't work out. So as much as I enjoyed the idea of it as well, it didn't work for YouTube, or for my audience at least, as much as I hoped it would. Or it did for like those of you that are gonna watch the videos, like no matter like, but it definitely didn't gain. There wasn't anybody who was watching it outside that, and still most of the audience didn't watch it. So it was just like, oh, why? You know, it's worth a shot. And every one of us watched it. That I bet is true. or a very high percentage of. And it's just like, you know, you guys are too loyal. It doesn't matter. It could be a really shit video and most of you would still watch it. But it's like, I just thought that it was like maybe one of those series that would get some momentum. You know, like it's got a chance. It's kind of kitschy. It's like I think that it's what I trust me. I know I have problems. Like I know. Let me tell you, I have issues. No, I think that I either I use stuff that is too expensive. I use tools that are outside of what a lot of people think is reasonable, or you know, like, I don't know. I put it out of touch from people really quickly. And a lot of people don't, that's not what they want to see. They don't want to see, they just want to see, you know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but I do feel like that's part of it. I'm not saying that if I had the most relatable content ever, that still a ton of people would watch it. But I do feel like I make a lot of stuff that tends to be unrelatable. Does that make sense? I don't know. So, um, I don't. That's my thought of maybe why that series didn't work, or partially why. I'm sure that I could have. Yeah. Will Vanquish bring back the Rock Jocks? 2 Rock Jocks, like AR-60 size? No. The SCX2 ones are still in production. We still make those. Those still go up every week or two, at least. Something like that. Probably. I mean, most of the time they go up every week, but it just depends. Like, it might be 2 weeks if we wait to get enough, then they all go out, then they go into packaging, and it just lags, and it's 2 weeks. But other than that, they're just in normal production. They just sell, a lot of that stuff just sells quickly, and we just have to, you know, there's only so much machine time dedicated to some of the older stuff. So Moose Jaw had some spanners last night. I think he was actually happy about it. I had Moose Jaw on my phone while Nicole and I were cleaning in the garage, and I actually heard him say that. Or maybe I read it in the chat. I don't remember what it was. I saw that as well. I tell you, it's like they come and go, and I mean, that's what they're after, right? But you are a step above the norm. I can relate in the industry and practice. It's one of those, it's like, yeah, it's just, it's not for everybody. I get it. But at the same time, it's how I want to do it. So when if it becomes unrelatable, it's fine. I'm still going to build that way. You YouTube is not where I'm trying to put. Uh, it's self-fulfilling. You know what I mean? I'm doing it for me, selfishly. So I'm gonna build how I want. So, yeah. Yeah. How many CNC machines do you guys have? I assume it must be a few at least to keep up with sales. At VP, I mean, yeah, there's quite a few. It's a good number. There's 16? 16 maybe? Yeah. I think. I don't know. It changes. They come, they go. We add some, you know. The biggest thing now though is going to robotics. So going, to the robot so it's loading 24 hours that way when people aren't there, it still runs. And that's the goal. Make sure that machines are still making money while nobody is in the building, because we have to do that to be able to like even compete. So, did you sell my truck? No, but it is at work. need to make it sweeten the pot so when I send that, it's there. It's like right behind my head at work. Like if I go back, it's like bink. I moved it there so I'd look at it. Ooh, I know what I need to know. What radio do you use, Toxic? Like in all of your trucks? What is your brand of radio? Getting them UR1E robots. Those are slick. Got one at work. Funnily enough, we have 16 CNCs too. I don't know what UR10E means. UR10E? I don't know. Is it a joke? All of our robots are the name. Why can I not say the name now? Fanuc. Fanuc robots. There we go. DX5 Rugged. Okay. Universal Robots. It's a brand. They're silver arms with blue caps on the joints. Ours are big yellow robots. They go, they do all the funny like. Portals are straight axles for a belly dragger. I am going to say the answer you guys probably don't think I would, and that's portals. The trucks I've been building with the flat rails and stuff like that, I'm staying with portals. Especially the F10s, they get crazy steering, grind the joints off, and they'll go 50 plus degrees with no other mods needed. So yeah, I'm going portal. I get people asking me on YouTube my molding and millwork, but it would be so boring trying to explain the setups and adjustment on the molders. Do you guys have like the big spinning one where you feed it through and just forms it? It's hard when most people can afford Endura, but you work for VP, obviously. Different perspective that can be lost on people. Yeah, and it's not like even on like Flip That Truck, like it's still one of those things like we're not necessarily using expensive parts always, but like buying trucks. That was the other thing I think is that people were just like, I don't know where you're finding these deals. Like I'm looking at the same places you can look. I'm not finding anything like wildly just hidden or anything like that. There's no secret deal. Like I told people to like email me things, but that's not where almost any of the like good truck deals came from. They just came from Facebook Marketplace or Facebook groups, or the other option, like, well, and that wasn't for like good deals. Like regular, just good deals, just Facebook Marketplace for sale ads, groups, things like that. That's it. It's I just look and look, and you just got to see. The thing is like that was the whole point of a lot of those trucks, though, is you had to see the shitty exterior that underneath of it there was a good parts list, and there was going to be enough of it there that didn't have to get thrown away to then turn into a good truck. We get deals. Famous YouTube guys get deals. So that was part. Now, the I have bought other trucks in the past that like I just wanted personally, and those how I've found more often was like my best bet was I just like found somebody like when they'd post their build, like just finish my most recent build, and I was like, ooh, I would just message that person and just be like, hey, do you want to sell that truck? Just like straight, like wasn't for sale. I didn't offer. Just be like, hey, can I buy your truck? And they'd be like, I mean, I guess. And then they just like throw out a price, and you go back and forth. You either lowball them or you don't, or whatever it is, depends. And then you go. Like that's where I found some legit good deals there. Like good deals, they're still expensive on really nice trucks. Like I think I paid. Yeah, everything is for sale. That's exactly it. I bought an Ultra for $300. Jocko says, that's a steal. I think the cheapest. I bought the Flex Seal VS410 Pro for $500 that Ben found. 500 or 550. I can't remember. One or the other. Ben found it. Phoenix actually had to go buy it because the PayPal thing was weird and didn't work. Whatever. And that came with had an AX system in it, like a 370 TBL in it as well. Like that was a good deal, $550. I mean, for a truck that, well, I say a good deal. That's super debatable as well. That truck was hammered dog shit by the time I got it. Like, it was terrible. So bad. But it cleaned up and turned into something decent. And, the content was 100% why I bought it. Like, nobody else should have bought that. Will VP be doing gold Boley wheels? Maybe, but maybe not. We need to do gold machetes though. Still, again, maybe not. On paper, it was legit. Flex Steel truck inspired me to buy a Pro. That's surprising. $500 just in hours chiseling off. Oh my God, what VP part category would you recommend for a first-time purchaser? Example, wheels, transmission, lights. That's a good question. Like, a category in general. Man, that's so hard to say. Like if you're trying to say just one, Wheels of Fortune. I'm telling you, it's a good deal. You get to sell some Wheels of Fortune. Like just trying to choose one. It's so hard to do. Links in general are made super well. That's a great way to say. The wheels, I feel like if you have used cheap wheels and you get you'll understand that that's a good area. The VFD in general, like the VFD transmission in this truck is one of like my all-time favorite parts. The standard VFD transmission, just super simple, just to keep it simple, not overwhelm anybody. The VFD from the Pro, it's fully built, it's machine gears, aluminum motor plate. It's freaking sick. You need a VS410 chassis for it or a custom deal, but that setup, it's just it makes a truck just Like if you're driving down a trail and like hit something, it comes up. Like the truck will come like all the way to here, and then it'll just set itself back down. All that weight's just so down low, and just it it's so good. So, you know, the Incision drive shafts are impossible to beat. Um, yeah, it's. I mean, I obviously feel happy about just about everything we do. There's some things that have not turned out well. VXT1 tires, the original VXT tires, obviously not a great not a great tire as far as stacking up to other competitors on the market. Yeah, it is what it is. It happens. I'm not, it's not like I'm going to try and argue that point. It just is what it is. But most of the stuff, it's just like I'm pretty stoked about it usually. Flat skid for a VFD would be nice. See, I don't know. I'm never on that like flat skid train, and I'll tell you why. It's a super, because if you take this truck for example, and you say like right now there's 8 millimeters of this hanging below the frame rails, right? So like flat skid, then you're able to get it all tucked up and all this, and yeah, you do gain. You're going to then gain that clearance there to the bottom of your chassis. Except now you've raised your motor and all that. So it's just like, well, all you did was raise everything back up. So at the same point, like if you just want more clearance, if you just give yourself the more ride height with your shocks, you've done the exact same thing. So I'm just like, I don't know. That's why I've never been like big on that. Instead, with this, you've got a lower profile bottom section rather than a wider, which would be the whole chassis rails and everything. So you've got a narrower profile section. It's all plastic, so it's going to smooth or slide smoothly over that. Like, I don't know. That's always been like my thought process and argument behind it. I just have never been, everyone's like, tummy tuck, flat skid, low CG skid plate. And I'm like, I want to disagree with you. I'd like to argue. I'd like to argue, please. So, hopefully I can get some Wheels of Fortune soon every time it's unavailable. Toxic. I'm gonna make up for everything. I'm just gonna do you a deal. Do you still have the $50 Element, $50 cage element? I do. Ugh, sorry, I'm hurting bad. Like my ankle. Every time I stand up, I'm just like, I'm gonna fall back down. But this was that $50 tube chassis that I bought. So I bought this chassis, like I said, for $50 a while back, and the only thing I haven't welded on the mounts for the rear sway bar, but I put an Element drivetrain underneath of it, dropped that in. Obviously, I did the trailing arms, and I did a custom hood for it, which was super fun. So it's a styrene hood. It's got like a breather there. Fancy. So that's made to get that covered up. Just drops down in and fits the chassis. Like, whoa. Silly. This, I still have trucks from, what was this series called? Flip That Truck. This one I still have to get sold, but I need to, like, maybe I'll finish it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I've got the Class 1 truck to sell, the that blue Toyota hard body, and then I've got that 2.2 Wraith-based tube chassis one. So I've got this one to sell. I did put this one on my website at least. So that one I'll hopefully sell before too long. There's been a few people who have asked about it. But that's class one. This is a G-Speed chassis. So G-Speed chassis, and it's got the TGH forward mounted motor and transfer case, all that. So that one I gotta sell. And then I've got this bomber based build that I need to sell as well. I haven't touched this one at all. This is basically how I bought it. So yeah, but yes. Um, you got to you got a class one to build. Yes, but that'll start from scratch and be a crazy fun project from start to finish. I'm not going to use one that I already have. That would be ridiculous. I could just use the class one that I had. Where'd my class one Jeep go? Oh, it's right there. Okay. I was like, what the hell is that? Whew. I about had a little bit of a heart attack there. See a little bit of the size difference. Not too much. This one sits a little bit, I mean, a little bit taller overall for sure. A little bit hard to see, but this one is at least an inch taller. Um, so, but, this is the all titanium and full carbon fiber body I made, which was a ridiculous project that I bled over, stabbed myself. But the entire body's carbon fiber. I did it all out of. I did the forging process for it, the whole thing. What? This was such a crazy wild truck. Will next year's class one be as involved as this year? Yes, yes, it will be, 100%. I will go. The only thing that will. I just hope that some things go smoother because I will have learned certain things, because I want to do the process of forged carbon fiber stuff again, but I'll probably do parts of it more like I just did the side pods for the Go Fast Phoenix, because this was so much easier and this is very light. So yeah, he says with no hesitation. Oh, absolutely. Like I have every intention. Oh, I missed a super chat. Sorry. I was distracted. Thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you, Joker. 510714. What's the max OD for Phoenix axles and VFD? Oh, max? I mean, if you put it in high overdrive and you put standard portal gears in the rear, and then you did underdrive, ring and pinion in the rear. Oh, you could do an overdrive ring and pinion in the front too, like from a different brand. And you could probably get it to like 70%. Like if you really wanted to accept, yeah, mid 70s even. I'd have to do the exact math, but I bet you could get it 70+%. Are you going to start them earlier this time? I don't think so. So I was talking about earlier, it was talking about about like upcoming projects, and I'm not going to discuss too many, but Matt and I have 2 more challenges we're going to try and do by the end of the year. Or, yes, 2 more that we're going to try and do by the end of the year. That's a thing. and then possibly another like monthly mayhem with another group of people in like February. So like right in the middle of the push to do Scale National stuff. Now, one of the challenges is right here, which is just out of clarity enough that I don't feel bad that I left it right here this whole time. But that's one of them right there. The other one sits just off camera over here. Well, part of it, kind of. There's a lot of stuff that has to come for the other one. And we got the initial clearance for the concept that we presented to the company. And they said, we're in, give us a breakdown of what you need. And then Matt's like, what if? And he added a twist to it. And I needed to send an email on that today, but I didn't have time because I was shipping all day. So I didn't get around to that. A sponsor. Yeah. The sponsor of the series, just like this last one was Vanquish, with the Phoenixes. While there was 8 of us, so not everybody got a free one, but it was still, it was still part of it. This next one is not a full monthly mayhem, so like we still have sponsors and everything like that. And they were cool with it, but we just have to, like I'm very formal with I put together a letter with a scope and the whole deal. Like this is what we want to do. This is how we want to try and do it. This is the format. This is the name. This is this. Here's, break it all down very much. Here's roughly what we think it will take. Let us know if you agree. And most of the time they do. Just present it well. Documentation. Document it out. Let them know what you're going to do. It's Nitro Crawlers. No. I will go on record right now with a hard no on that, because I personally want nothing to do with Nitro ever again. I'm so over Nitro from the one time I ever did it. Can you tell of a time they said no? Let's see. I don't know that I can. I don't know if anyone's ever said no. I was just saying it as a caveat in case. Like, I don't remember that anyone has ever said no. Yeah. I don't know. If something pops in my head, I'll. God, I feel like someone had to say no at some point. I feel like a lot of RC4 Drive would say no. I think that they would. I think my email's probably blocked. I feel like a lot of the times when we have an idea, it's fairly well fleshed out that it would be feasible. It would be good promotion. We have most likely some sort of existing relationship with them. So like we usually, we feel pretty decent about what we're, going to present. It's not a whole lot of times that we're like stretching, like, okay, here's the deal. And we also have to like you have to understand like what some companies want to see or don't want to see. So like, for example, the TRX6, the Traxxas TRX6 that sits up above there. As part of that one, Traxxas is pretty particular with some things, which is fine, more so than most others. But they specifically were like, hey, totally game for what you're proposing there. We would just like you to use our electronics. And they wanted us to use their telemetry. Like, totally fine. Understand? We can do that. And it helped kind of level the playing field. Like, there was no like going crazy and reaching out to somebody or spending $1,000 on electronics to try and beat, for Matt and I to try to beat each other. So it helped level the playing field. And there's some companies that, like, even when you pitch something, you're like, okay, we're going to pitch it in a way that we're going to appease them off the bat with what we think that they would want to see. So in some companies, we know we're going to be way more lax about it, so we don't have to be nearly the same type of thought process. Are you talking about ideas presented to Vanquish or Vanquish to other companies just joined? No, I'm talking about ideas of like myself and Matt when we do challenges and presenting to other companies. And in those cases, while most everybody knows where I work full time, they know that I work at Vanquish. They also know that YouTube is YouTube. And when I present myself on YouTube, I present it in a way that I'm just a freaking 30-something-year-old dude who sits in a half-assed spare bedroom of his house and plays with RC cars a bunch. So, it's a small world. If you piss people off, they'll remember they're going to be at a different company and you'll piss them off there. So, like, so, yeah. But I just realized that my class 1, this guy, technically illegal right now because the shocks come through. So I need to box those in. But while I do have this truck for sale on my website, if I'm not like trying to sell it, I have a price. I have it priced on it that is steep, but it's like, that's about what I would want if I was going to try and sell it. But we are talking about doing a class 1 series here locally as well. So I may use it in that. It fits in the trapezoid rules. I believe beyond those shocks showing through that my rules. Price is Ripper light. Yeah, it's definitely Ripper. You couldn't get a Ripper for it. It would cost, you would still need more money for the Ripper. So we'll never be an RTR Vanquish? No, I wouldn't say never. I think that that's a possibility one day. It's just it's another step. That is, Vanquish we're a small company. There's like 4 of us who run it, and then there's people who run, or do work there. Well, there's basically 4 of us who just sit there and make it, and we're all just dudes. We're just like, I don't know, let's do this, see if that works. Like, that worked out. Let's do it again. But, you start getting into another level of things, and it's just like, okay. So, more people, more room, more money. It's all things. Josh, what do you use to roll your tubes when you want to do a fastback style cage? I mean, this is a fastback cage, right? I mean, this is what is generally considered fastback. Are you talking about like if you want a roll, just like a long radius? I used to have a ring roller. I think I left it in Missouri somehow. I had a nice like metal geared ring roller, good quality one. And I don't have that anymore. So now if I need like a radius, I just find something around me of a radius that I want. Whether it be the oxygen or acetylene bottles I have, or the argon bottle I have different. My argon bottle is larger than my oxy or acetylene bottles. I just find something around, and bend it over that. It's my, I'm just looking around at round shit, just being like, that's bigger. Ooh, that's smaller. That's the one I need. Where do I find one of those fine and dandy trucks? I will prepare you, but they're on my website. HarleyDesigns.com is my website. Have you seen the NWSD roller? Pretty cool. No, they have a ring roller. That's kind of cool. Or is it like the swag off-road one? Interesting. Roll 2 tubes at the same time. Ah, okay. I guess when I've ever done, like when I was doing my ring roller, I would just roll it so that it was long, and then I would just cut the sections out that I needed. I have seen the NWSD, Northwest Scale Design. Yeah, I have seen their tube benders, but I haven't seen their tube rollers. Over 5K for the class 1? Not over, but right on. Like exactly. Have you ordered the Fighter Pilot controller, or is it not in it yet? I ordered 2 of them actually, because I think that they were like $15 or something like that, or $16 and free shipping. So I was just like, I'll order 2. So yeah, I did order it. We'll see when they get here, because I imagine that they're going to be terrible. Like absolutely terrible. Are those cages tube or rod, and what material? So both. This is solid rod, but it's titanium. So the titanium here, this is tube, and it's 3/16 tube with 0.035 inch wall thickness, but it's steel. So even though this one is hollow and it's steel, so it is heavier than the solid titanium. The solid titanium is still like 30% lighter than the tube steel. But on this one also, there's 1/8 inch solid steel. So, you know, that would be the differences there. Now, as far as what is the density? Density of titanium, pounds per cubic inch. This is grade 5 AL 4.48. Oh, I could use my handy dandy whiteboard. So titanium is 4.58, 4.48. And steel is, let's just say, oops. Density of steel, pounds per cubic inch. I want it in cubic centimeter. I want it in an inch. Damn it. Now this is crazy. 4 types of steel, blah, blah, blah. Just plain carbon steel. There we go. Wait, that can't be right. 0.284 pounds per cubic inch. What? Titanium is not light like most people think. Titanium is twice as heavy as aluminum, but it's still lighter than steel. But what I have, 4.4, either 4.48 is wild wrong, or densities chart. That's what we're going to do. That's what we need. So aluminum, steel, titanium, cast iron, cobalt, lead. There we go. Steel. Okay. Pounds per inch cubed. So I have something wrong for titanium. We're scratch that out. Steel, 0.283. Titanium, 0.162. There we go. There's where it comes in. So the now I just need to do area of a circle. What is that? Is it pi 2r or pi r squared? Pi r squared. Radius of 0.0625 for 1/8 inch. That's what I was trying to figure out. Is it's 1/8 inch steel solid rod is lighter than 3/16. 0.012. There we go. How much do titanium shavings that come out of the CNC go for? So we actually don't machine the we don't machine titanium in-house anymore. It's kind of a whole freaking mess to do with EPA in California now. 0.093125. 0.027. So now back to my calculator. I want to know this for myself. Titanium is so tough to machine. It is a bitch to machine. I have machined it. Titanium glitter in your car. Ooh. I would have to see. That's the thing. I have a lot of titanium glitter because when I cope these tubes with, if you guys watched the Scale Nats build of this, I built that ridiculous tubing notcher we nicknamed Nacho Libre. And that thing makes some titanium burrs or shavings and nice little piles of them. Just put those into it. I tried putting the glitter into this one, and you can kind of see the blue flake, but not a lot. So it's like 0.162 times 0.027 equals 0.004374. 0.012 times 0.283. So the 1/8 inch solid steel would technically be lighter than the solid titanium. By how much? Divide that by 0.00374. 9.2% lighter. Almost nothing. It's almost the same. Almost the same. Let's see. Hard to weld. Honestly, the titanium, it's a little hard to weld, but it's not that bad. It's a lot easier than I thought. And I've learned some things recently, especially that make me even more comfortable with it. I just need to, so all I was doing was just high value pre and post flow with a large shielding gas cup with the CFH turned up. So, you know, and it worked okay. I was still getting some oxidation on the backside of joints though. Now, the way that is easiest to solve that, which I did when I repaired the Phoenix up there, was I just took some freaking aluminum foil and just kind of took it to create a nice little cup on the backside, and it kept all of my gases in that area, and the welds were fantastic. Like, well, there we go. So, all that desperation, you reach over to write on a pen. So it's actually, I've got a white It's like a desk organizer slash whiteboard, and my speakers are attached to it as well. It's a nice place to write a list or to make like some notes, but it is, it's another stupid purchase. But this was a fun truck. I'm glad that I built it and I learned a lot from doing it. I wouldn't change a lot about what I did. So in the end, I feel like it was a win. I should put it back. Tell you what, it is heavy. Oh, you got an idea board. Josh writes poetry on the whiteboard. I couldn't write poetry if I tried. Let's see. I almost got my desk made. I almost got my desk made of whiteboard, but then thought I would be smearing it all the time. If my surface was a white, like if I could just put glass on top of this, but you know how annoying that would be for you guys who hear me like setting this stuff down on glass all the time, just like click 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 click, just rolling across it. That might be a little much, but it would be. I would like it. Like just I love just like writing notes. Note, 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 note. Look like a insane asylum in here probably though if I just start writing notes. I love that shirt. Where can I get one? This was an SBG shirt on his Teespring back in the day. I'm not sure that it is still available. Do plexiglass. That would be an option. Or do it. I wonder how a resin pour would work. It might still be too porous. I don't know. I feel like a resin pour desk would be fun in here. Scratch the crap out of the glass. Oh, that's another thing. I'd need like Gorilla Glass, right? You'd be Charlie from It's Always Summer. Like, okay, good. Resin has sealers. We need magnesium method with. Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun. One of my other ideas for Scale Nationals was to actually do forged carbon wheels, like make my own wheel barrels for forged carbon. Like, you can't use carbon fiber flat plate style, but if I do forged carbon, hear me out. My work table is an IKEA table I got for 20 bucks. Just had to buy legs for it. This is an IKEA table as well. It's same, and I bought legs for it. IKEA legs as well. But yeah, that's what this is. It's just their solid birch one. Yeah. So what happened with the title on the Scale News update this week? So how I do the Scale News is I finish my edit, I export, and then as it starts importing, I copy the base of the description over, I paste the title over so I can just change the number, and I forgot to change the title until later the same day. I've done it many times. Many times. Josh loves the other favorite color, gray. Forged carbon would be nice. I mean, I have fears of how strong or how heavy they would be, but, you know. What legs did you get? I forgot the name of mine. Mine are the sawhorse style with the adjustable height. So they're okay, but they're so wide that they take up odd space. I do have my computer tower sitting on one of them. I'd like to get the powered one so I can, even though I don't know why. Like, why would I ever do that? But it still seems like a good idea. But, oh, it's 9 o'clock on the dot. We're going to call it. Because you like gadgets. Exactly. I need more shit to plug in. That's what I need. All right. Why can't you run carbon wheels at scale nuts? You can't run standoff style wheels. So you can't run just like flat plate wheels like bolted together. You can't. It's not allowed in scale rules. So as a no-go. But a forged carbon, like truly molded one, you could run. Seems like it would be hard to forge them perfectly round. You could forge them and then just put them on the lathe afterwards and clean up to get perfectly round. You forgot your story. Oh, you're right, Henry. So the story was about David Pig decided to try YouTube Premium this week. It's life-changing, no going back. I couldn't agree more with a statement. That is 100% true. It is life-changing. If you are obsessed with watching YouTube content like me, it is life-changing. Anyway, the story that I started to tell at the beginning and said I would tell at the end. When I was in engineering, like Nicole knew before we decided, like we had the conversation on whether or not I was going to leave engineering to go move to California to work in RC full time was not one that like happened in a week and then we decided at the end of that week to do it. It was something like they had asked months ahead of time or years before that. And finally we got to a point where it was just like, Nicole and I had the conversation enough times and it was just like, but one of the things was like, she could tell was that when I get like wild stressed out, like real world problems, wild stressed out, I have that thing where I will like pull my own hair out, pull my eyebrows. Like I'll pull eyebrow hair out. It's like dink. Like I get like obsessive and I'll like feel my eyebrow and I'm like, oh, that one, like, I can tell this feels longer. And I'll like, and I would sit at my desk and like be working on something and I would just do that. And like, she could tell like my eyebrows would be thin or in spots and she could tell, she'd be like she could tell when like shit was not okay. And there's a word for it. People have it. It's I'm not going to say common. It's a weird thing that I just happen to have. And, it's a thing. And so, is that why you're growing it out? So like she bought, so if you I'm not like obsessive compulsive though. Like I know people say like, oh, OCD, blah, 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 that there's an actual word for like pulling your own hair out and it's a thing. People have it. I worked with a girl who did that. She plucked all her eyebrows and she had to paint them on with makeup. Well, some girls do that just because, but, it's a thing. And it just, either way, she bought me these scissors and I use them. They're like a tiny pair of scissors, like this big, but they have a comb on them. So like I can take and like do that. I swear to God, my eyebrows would be like freaking full blown caterpillars. Like they'd be touching the microphone if I didn't do it. Cause my trichotillomania. Yeah. I think it's like something like that. Whatever it is. That's the name. But like my eyebrows would be so long otherwise. So they got these little eyebrow scissors and and just keep them all. Like, oh, they're my favorite grooming device. Anyway, there's one more ridiculous piece of information about my private life that nobody needs to know, but now you know. I don't do that as much anymore. I don't get to those points. That's why I know my life is that much better than it used to be. One more reason I got out of civil engineering and love playing with RC cars every day instead. So I appreciate everybody for joining in and have a good weekend. Matt and I will still be on Wednesday for Livestream Takeover and probably Friday. I'll probably still do something. So, we'll be here playing around. Have a good night, everybody. And we'll see you next time.